the first grievance session. Now we have our second grievance. And I wanted to make a statement also that this grievance, the remedies being asked for the two grievances were addressed in the Monday's meeting, but we chose to have the grievance to hear you again. So that was.
And this is the second one, right?
Yeah. And we wanted to give you that
That's what I did.
opportunity. That's why we did it.
This meeting's called to order at 8 o'clock. We'll take roll call again. Mr. Macias?
Present.
Mr. Salinas?
Present, sir.
Mr. LaFoyle?
Present.
Ms. Shaw?
Present.
Mr. Flores?
Present.
Steve Salyer, present. The special board meeting of the Board of Trustees of Judson ISD will be held December 14th, beginning at 8 o'clock in the ERC boardroom. Meeting called to order. If board doesn't object, let's do this one open session. It's about the board and discussion. I don't think we have to have this one in closed session. Any objections of the board?
No problem, sir.
Nope.
Nobody?
Nope.
Okay, I got to read this whole thing again like Mr. Flores did. We will now consider level 3 grievance. Your grievance will be heard in will be held in open session. Accordingly, the board will now convene open session under authority of the Texas Government Code, section 551.074 and 551.0821. Did I say that right?
Doesn't matter now.
Okay. Okay. It is December 14, 2015 at 8 p.m. For the record, the board previously convened an open meeting, announced the closed meeting would be held, and identified the applicable section of the Texas Open Meeting authorizing such meeting. We are here to hear the level 3 grievances of 27, 26. We will now proceed to hear the grievances. The following board members are present. Mr. Macias?
Jose Macias, present.
Mr. Salinas?
Mr. Arnoldo Salinas, present.
Mr. LaFoyle?
Richard LaFoyle, present.
Ms. Shaw?
Renee Pichelle, present.
Mr. Flores?
Gilbert Flores, present.
Steve Salyer, present. I will now ask each member of the board whether he is able to serve as an impartial member of this hearing body and to arrive at a decision based solely upon information and documentation presented at this grievance presentation. Any member not able to act in such a manner may say so and ask to be excused. Mr. Macias.
I affirm that I can.
Mr. Salinas.
No problem, sir.
Mr. LaFoyle.
No problem.
Ms. Shaw.
No problem.
Mr. Flores.
No problem.
And I have no problem. A recording is being made of the proceedings before the board in this level 3 grievance appeal. In order to provide the most accurate record possible, an audio recording of the proceeding is being made. Please avoid talking when others are speaking so that the record will reflect the proceeding accurately. As part of the record of this level 3 grievance, the superintendent has supplied each board member with copies of the original grievance filed by the individuals. The official record of this grievance will be comprised of one, the recordings of what is present here tonight and any transcripts made of that recording, the correspondence and documents relating to this grievance which have been supplied to the board by superintendent as level 2 record, any additional documents considered by the board at this proceeding, the Judson Independent School District Board policies concerning public complaints at GF Legal and GF Local, and agenda items of this meeting and the minutes of the meeting once approved. For the record, the grievance are present for this level 3 grieving proceedings. Will you please identify yourself and your representative? Ma'am? I will now instruct the parties regarding procedures to be followed in this hearing. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with district policies governing employment complaints local at GF Local. The order of this proceeding will be as follows. There will be no opening statements other than what the parties present in their statements in the making of the record. First, the grievant will present his or her level 3 grievance to the board. This is the grievance opportunity to fully present his grievance for the purpose of this record. In the interest of fairness, when the grievant has completed his level 3 appeal presentation, similarly, we will allow the board to give its response. The grievant and the administration will be allowed a brief time to present rebuttal statements. As the presiding officer of the hearing, pursuant to board policy GF local. I'm imposing reasonable time limits on the grievance presentation by the grievant and the response by the board. The grievant will be allotted 15 minutes to make their presentation. The board will then have 15 minutes to respond. Any question from the board will be taken at that time. At the end of the time, I will allow each party 5 minutes to agree the rebuttal statement. This is a grievance presentation and not formally a formal evidentiary hearing. There will be no sworn testimony by or cross-examination of a witness within specified timelines. The grievant will make his or her presentation, which may include statements in reference to documents previously submitted by the grievant and by the board. The board then will be given opportunity to respond in kind. The board will not consider documentation not previously submitted by the grievant at the local level 1 grievance filing unless the grievant did not know the documents existed, nor will the board consider any complaints that were not timely submitted at level 1 in accordance with the applicable grievance policy. Board members may ask such questions of the party as well as will aid their understanding of grievance and response, but the parties will not ask questions directly to one another. If any board member has questions, however, I request that they refrain from interpreting or asking such questions until I call questions so that we can maintain accurate record of the time used by each party. Are there any questions regarding procedures? No? Okay. Let me get here real quick. Okay, let me get going here. You'll have 15 minutes. Okay, you may start, ma'am.
I'm here on behalf of 26 Grievance asking you to rescind the name of the high school that you named after former Superintendent Willis Mackey. I'm quoting now from a statement on the actual board webpage. Through your elected officials, you have a voice in the decision-making process. In you lies the strength of the Judson Independent School District. We consider what you and others have to say because you offer a unique glimpse into community needs and interests. You know firsthand about the dreams and hopes of our youth. Each school board member and administrator invites you to share your insights with them by telephone, letter, or personal visit. By letting them know what you're thinking, you will bring to life the U.S. Constitution's opening phrase, "We the people." We sincerely hope you will visit us again. We, school board and administrators, are here to serve you and make a positive impact and memorable difference in the lives of our district's children. They are our future. And the future of our children is now to go to a high school that was named for someone that the community does not support. The community does not support naming Mackey High School, Mackey High School. I refer to the number of submissions of people, the actual submissions of people who nominated a name. Clarence Alberts, 25 submissions. Robert Evans High School, 24 submissions. Christopher Baltazar, 23. Thomas Parsley, 15, Willis Mackey, 13, Helen Rook, 10. By my count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Dr. Mackey barely made the top 5. There's a reason for that. We know that 2,500 citizens were not in favor of this name, whether they submitted a suggestion or not. No one in their right mind would have thought that this person would have been named this high school. The board contracted with Dr. Mackey to leave his position early and hire another superintendent to take over. That certainly does not indicate faith and support of a superintendent and having a school named after him. His time in service, it was brought up that he had 7 years in the district, which was, like Dr. Eloff. Well, I beg to differ. Dr. Eloff spent more than 20 years as superintendent and over 30 years in service of Judson Independent School District. That is in no way a fair comparison. The morale that was in the district under Dr. Mackey was severely deteriorated. We had an employee attrition rate much higher than the state level throughout every single year that Dr. Mackey was here. 2009, 2010, district turnover rate 17%, state 11.8%. 2011, 2012, district turnover rate 17.5%, state 12.6%. 2012, 2013, district turnover rate 19.2%, state 15.3%. You can see that there is a problem in Judson Independent independent school district, and I submit that it was the superintendent causing this. I can tell you that because of statements made to me and to my other grievance and to everyone that I have spoken to about the appearance, about the actions, about what Dr. Mackey's personality, the content of his character was like. Not only was he a bully, but he also did not do his job all that well. He promoted unqualified staff into major administrative positions at both campuses and district office. For example, there was an assistant superintendent here, hired by Mackey, promoted into that position without a superintendent certification. He has a middle school principal who requires the assistant principals to read the Monday memo and tell that principal what's important in it. She cannot be bothered to do it herself. He promoted a principal who, as a former assistant principal, was demoted to teacher for changing student grades. There is a principal in the district who sat behind closed doors to work on the doctorate, forcing the assistant principal to do all the work on the campus. He promoted campus and district administrative staff too soon with not enough experience and did not provide them the support to be successful. As a consequence, we lost many young, talented teachers, leaders to other districts because they were not supported, and this is Mackey's fault as the superintendent of the district. Dr. Mackey used derogatory and divisive language in his meetings. I was at one of the meetings, more than one meeting. He talked about prissy white girls. He talked about a Jew boy. He talked about Paco in the corner. I was at meetings where he belittled and demeaned administrators, saying that these particular administrators should come sit up front because they were the losers. That was in a meeting where every member of the administration was there, where people such as me, curriculum specialists, were there, assistant principals and principals. This is not the mark of a strong leader. I find it interesting that only one school employee spoke up for naming the school after Dr. Mackey, and yet many former employees spoke up against him. Current employees, with a very few exceptions, stood up because the culture of fear and retaliation that he instilled in this district is still there. They are afraid to speak up, but they're talking to us behind the scenes, and they're telling us what Dr. Mackey did, how he belittled them, how he bullied them, how, for example, he told me the very first day I met him, when he was walking the halls of the district ERC, when I was on staff here, he looked at me and asked me who I was. I told him, I introduced myself, I welcomed him to the district. He looked at me and said, "You might have a job tomorrow." That's a very fine welcome. This is the man that you want to name a high school after. Behind the scenes, this was important to Dr. Mackey, obviously, because behind the scenes he was on the phone calling teachers, asking them to come to meetings and speak up for him because he knew how many people were speaking against him with valid reasons. There is a precedent set for naming the schools in the district. Judson High School, named for Moses Judson, who was responsible for starting the Bexar County School District. A fine name, worthy of recognition. Our district is named for him, our first high school named for him. Karen Wagner, a former student who died in the line of duty. These are people who are honorable, people we can look up to and respect. Other names were suggested that are completely honorable as well. Clarence Alberts, Robert Evans High School, the man who donated the money for the school. That's at least one that is not controversial, and you couldn't settle on that. Christopher Baltazar, another young man who was a graduate of Judson High School, died in service to the country. Thomas Parsley, how many years did he give versus Mackey's 7? I'm sorry, Helen Rook, who established the Gifted and Talented program here in the district, a fine educator who gave many, many, many years to Judson School District. These are the people that we should be looking up to, naming buildings after, not someone who was here for 7 years and created the culture that Dr. Mackey created. I find it unfortunate that people went behind the scenes and forwarded emails that were critical of Dr. Mackey's name to Dr. Mackey, Ms. Bichelle. I find it unfortunate that somebody was so biased that we knew that what that vote was going to be on the name since she submitted the name for nomination, Ms. Bichelle. The Code of Ethics of the district requires you to be accountable and responsive to the community. You are accountable and responsive to yourselves and to some apparent need to honor Dr. Matthew, who needs no honor, deserves no honor. And you're going to vote again, I'm sure, just because we've made you mad. Just because you can't look beyond somebody coming at you for being upset. A group of the public who is this upset about something is what you should be listening to, not your own agendas. Dr. Mackey does not deserve to have this school named after him. Rescind the vote. Name it something else. And for the record, this is not about race. Because had you named it Dr. Zolkowski High School, I'd be up here protesting that too. And he was fine. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Board, any questions from the board? Any comments? Mr. Shaw? Mr. Salinas?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
We are elected by the people in this district. We're elected because they expect us to represent them. And somehow, we have been doing that for a number of years. But this thing came up and there was an uproar of the taxpayers saying, no, that's not the right decision. You're my representative and something needs to change. Obviously, some of us are listening to our constituents and the community. Some of us are not. But that's a decision of every board member because I'm only one vote. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Mr. Ford? No?
I heard what you said. Some of it's truth, some of it's out and out lies. One of it is Mr. Parsley stood right in front of this building over here
Then don't name it
with
Parsley.
a sign, waving it in everybody's face that came up there that he didn't want another high school. If he was that great of a man, why was he scared of another high school?
Then don't
Does
name
the
it.
word football come in mind?
Name it something neutral like Evans.
Pardon? I never talked when you were talking.
No, we're not.
Please, this is not a give and take. This is a give to me and you to listen. Also, you're talking about other people. Dr. Z, of all people?
He deserves it. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'll put that in my.
Ma'am, this is not a back and forth.
Not a give and take here. It's to me say, contradict what you said. The thing is, Mr. Parsley waved it right in my face every time I came to a board meeting. I wasn't on the board at that time, but I was attending meetings. The thing is, that's not right. If you've got a school that is so jam-packed with kids that you've got to have police in between to shuffle them back and forth, why not build another high school? You're completely wrong.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Mr. Flores?
I just wanted to say that, you know, you say we're not listening to the community. What about those people that spoke the other day that were for in favor, you know, for it? You know, what, you know, that's where, you know, that's why, you know, Mr. Salinas says we're not listening to everybody. Well, if we're not listening to you and we're listening to them, or else we're listening to you and we don't listen to them. And, you know, it's just, you know, this thing came out and we had a called meeting, like I said before, and they were proactive. Then it came out, the vote came out, and then you were, the community, some of the community was reactive. Now they're getting reactive. You know, that's the way I'm seeing it. But, you know, it's, you know, that's why I'm really torn about it now, you know, just for that reason. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Macias?
I just wanted to relate to you how
inspiring you have been and how engaged you have been. And I respect your process in going through it. I will say that I failed to address the race issue when I made my comments, not because it wasn't important, because it really had no bearing on anything. And so I still state there's absolutely no bearing on any of that. But I will say that for my colleagues that maybe they're aware, maybe they're not, you had 2 former board members speak who gave Dr. Mackey a 5-year contract that night. So obviously they're in his camp. They thought he was good enough to give him 5 years. And then you had his relative, I think his sister, speak. And so you have really a very biased contingent of people making statements to support the school, Mr. Flores. So it's not like this is a groundswell of support the other way. We essentially just look past our community, you, in terms of what the real deal is. But I mean, I've stated again that this issue is dead. We went through the process, it finally was voted on. We're not going to rescind the name within these next 17 months. But I pledge May 2017 we will. And so as community members, just know that the next outlet for all of this is then. And so there will be new leadership on this board, and we will change that name. So just know that.
Anyone else? None? Okay, each side now will have an opportunity to present 5-minute rebuttal statement. Ready, ma'am? Go ahead.
Mr. LaFoyle, this is my time now to talk to you.
Yes, thank you.
If you didn't want to name it for Mr. Parsley, that's fine, I understand that. But there were many other deserving names on that list, too, that you could have looked at. Okay? Dr. Zolkowski I brought up as the issue of race. I would certainly hope he was never in contention. And I think you agree with me there. I don't think we have a problem there. Again, those who spoke in favor of this were people from Dr. Mackey's church, his family members, and as Mr. Macias pointed out, former board members who were in favor of Dr. Mackey and who no longer are on the board and who, you know, for whatever reason, still think that he deserves this honor. The overwhelming majority of the public doesn't feel that. And I would certainly hope you would listen to the overwhelming majority. Mr. Flores, I know you to be a decent man. I was astounded when I heard that you voted for this. So I'm sorry, I'm talking to Mr. Flores. Did I say Macias? I did say Flores.
Yes.
I really know you to be an honorable man. I am not a person who comes forward, and I cry when I get angry, and I'm feeling very angry now, because I feel like we're not being heard. I feel like there is a personal agenda at work here. I feel like there is a deal made behind the public's back for this to have happened, because nobody in their right mind who ever worked with and for that man would have named a school after him. There's no way. And for you to do this sends a slap to the face of every employee in the district. And many of the employees in this district love this district so much we live here. We pay taxes here. It's extremely disrespectful for you to sit there and say, how'd that work for you? I'm not changing my mind because I'm mad at you. I'm not going to listen to you because of your approach. I had nice email to you in the beginning. It wasn't until after you were rude, dismissive, and ugly in the board meetings that I started to promise that you will be unseated at your next election. This is not over. You have a bond election to contend with. There are board elections to contend with. We're not through. This is not going to be over.
Okay, anyone from the board want to say anything?
Do we use our 4 minutes?
Do we use our 5 minutes?
I don't think so.
No.
She was the
No, I'm your spokesperson. I don't know that I'll let you say anything. I'm sorry.
Okay. Board, anyone have anything to say from the board?
Rebuttal?
Rebuttal?
Me?
Yes.
Everybody.
Anybody?
No.
Well, we agree on one thing, and that's Dr. Sikowski, but the rest we do not agree on. And as far as being chosen, him being chosen before we got in the boardroom, that didn't happen. The thing is, I went to a lot of his meetings, know it or not, I sat way in the back. I never heard any of this stuff that you people are saying. And as far as the people leaving, there's more money over there, and believe it or not, I've seen them leave for a quarter, go to another district for a quarter. Bus driver, no problem, go over there. And if we raise it the next year, they come back over here. The thing is, it isn't about who's up there or anything like that, it's about money in this district. We can't pay the money the rest of them can, and they leave for $1. That's all I got.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. The level 3 grievance is now concluded. I will now review with the board members of this board the proper process for reaching a decision in this case. Having heard the level 3 grievance, the board has several options. The board may vote to grant the level 3 grievance. The board may vote to deny the level 3 grievance. The board may vote to grant in part or deny in part any or all of the level 3 grievance or request the remedies. In making its decision, the board should consider only the grievance presentation, its response presented tonight at this meeting, as well as documents contained in the record. We will not consider any statement, rumor, or other information that we may have heard outside this meeting. Do we need to go into closed session, discuss anything, or?
I don't think
No?
so. Is there a motion?
Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
I motion that we rescind the name of, well, let me back up. I motion that I grant the request to remedy the grievance by rescinding the name of the new high school.
Second.
Second, Mr. Salinas. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Salinas?
Yes.
Mr. LaFoille?
No,
Mr. Shaw?
No.
Mr. Flores?
No.
Mr. Macias?
Yes.
I vote no.
Don't say you haven't heard it now, Mr. LaFleur. Never say that.
This meeting is adjourned at 8:26.